Mayor, you want me to join a break yet?
No,
Nah.
it automatically includes you.
Cool.
Now, who's MF? I'm really curious. Who's MF?
Mordechai Flatman.
Oh, Mordechai, there you are. Hello. Okay, now I understand. Oh, hello. Good to see a friendly face from the other side of the world. Aaron, you have, come on, let's go. Oh, Noam's there. Good. Can we start? Am I okay? No, I'm missing this. What? Just a minute. Okay, let's go. Stephen's iPad. Okay. Kiva, how are you doing? There you are. Sharon, how are you? Who was Stephen's iPad? Yours? Is that your English name?
My dad's.
Oh, Guido Ben Stephen. Okay, pick this and let's roll. Okay. I was trying to figure out a way how I can go in to visit you guys in your rooms without bothering Mayor and Elazar. We finally figured out some kind of mechanism to do that. So I'll be visiting you guys. Wow, what did you guys do? Yehuda was on with you and Elazar. You were guys are going after it. Well, I closed the conversation because it was disturbing my learning. What was it about, Elazar?
It was about the Tosos on the top of Kufchaf Gimel on the base.
Oh, I'm a base.
Yeah.
So, but it just sounded interesting.
Is that good or bad?
It was disturbing me. I put it all on mute. I also want to learn. Right, but it's nice to see you. Okay, let's go weiter. Dr. Mishnah. Yeah. Hanani ben Chachinoi Oime, Haner Balayla, Vamhalach B'derech Yechidi, Vamfanel Liber Levatola, Harezen Chai Benafshe, so the Rambam learned. Rambam explained that a person who wakes up at night and decides to walk the streets, now it was dangerous in those times. That's the reason you said Ashkivenu, because people were scared to go in the streets. This guy's walking a Makam Sakana. Now, in a Makam Sakana, if you really need Siyata Dishmaya to be protected. So we all know that Dika Siyata Dishmaya is Dveikus and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As the Rambam describes, is basically an intense awareness of God's existence, is that which gives you special Ashgacha Pratis, that's a Rambam of Fursh in the Meir and also the Ramban in Iyov. No, and this guy needs special Ashgacha Pratis because he's going in a Malkim Sakana. So, and what the final about the Rambam explains is B'chashe B'kfira. He's doing the opposite of Ashgacha Pratis. He's throwing God by B'chashe B'kfira. He's doing all the reasons not to have Ashgacha Pratis, but at the best to have Ashgacha Pratis. A person which dafka in a makam sakana decides adrabah to walk away from God and to think fear. This is the right side. This is the guy which should be looking for punishment, which should be getting punishment. That's what he says. That's the cloud. The cloud is what you should know when you go in a makam yichidi or a makam sakana. The ikar atzala is basically yidavik in yediyas Hashem. We know Reb Chaim Volozhin discussed this Baruch Hava also in Nefesh Chaim. The Yisod is the Rambam Mer Nevuchim. Okay, the more you with intense awareness about Kadosh Baruch Hu. I remember hearing once from a Beryl, the Briskerov's oldest son, Zechron Levracha. He's his son is the Rosh Yeshiva of Brisk. What's his name again? Yeshua Solechi. From Poland, they were in Krenitz to Vilna, and they had to go across the border. There were no wagon. So his father was terribly intense, didn't talk to anybody, anything. He was just thinking. Afterwards, he told them that this was because he was trying to think totally, that everything's up to Kadosh Baruch Hu and nothing more. Because as Reb Chaim Volozhin says, if that's what you're mechashiv, then you have a certain siyai to the shmai and a certain ashgacha project which saves you even b'makom sakana. This is mishavnus libam laviyim b'shabbat shemayim. You misrapim. This is Reb Chaim Volozhin discusses this. This the Tziv also brings it in Hemigdavar, but Lamais it's all based on Rambam in the Buchim, the Gedorim of Ashgacha Pratis. This is this mission. Next mission. If the Chunyeh ben Akana Emek Makabel all of oil Torah, Mavir Mimenu oil Malchus for oil Derech Eretz. So Rashbam was meant this. Oil Torah means is Chayvus Alimut. And whatever you do, you're making yourself a chiyuv of limud, an oil. Okay? It didn't mean to say that you're sitting all day. It means what you're doing, you're making a chayvus of limud. So if that's the case, oil malchus, the terech malchus va'oilai, Kadosh Baruch Hu will help you be parted from. Now this is obviously not a nevuah because we know, for give you an example, the Stipler, Zichron Levracha, was drafted to the Russian army and he served there for 1.5 years if you really want to know. Okay. The Kilis Yaakov, his brother was served in the Russian army. Poor guy got caught. And he knew he was Decher Makabel of Old Torah. Afal Pikain says the chayes, as one would say, it also depends on other factors in your life. This is a tremendous thing which will help, but there's no promise. You don't have other cheshbainis shalmaila which are going to put you somewhere else. I want this to be very clear. This is my sirah. What's oil derech eretz? So the Rambam, Torah Chazman, ki b'schak kabbalasa oil Torah yatzilei Hashem oil hamelachim v'yekela olav oil hazman. Very beautiful language. When it comes to the dini oil hamelachim, it's a question of schar v'onish. God will save you. From God will save you. It's obviously some people God feels that some people don't have to be saved from it. So Adrabah, you should go. But if it's Olam Malachim, we're talking about the Goyish kings over there. In most cases, it was Xer and Eruah, so God has to save you. But when it comes to Derech Eretz, He doesn't say that you won't have Oil Derech Eretz at all. Lashon Ram is V'yekel all of Oil Hazman. He'll make it easier. In other words, you won't have to spend so much time on Parnasa. God will help you that you'll be able to do, Mat Maiseh and Brachas Shori Be'ison. You'll make a living even with not having to spend all that much time for it. That's called Yaakov Oil Hazman. The Radvaz writes the same thing at the end of Hilchos Shmita V'Yovel. In the end of Hilchos Shmita V'Yovel, where the Rambam says that a person make himself Shevet Levi Kodesh Kedoshim, he's Porik Ma'ol of Oil Havle Hazman. So the Rambam says, so the Radvaz explains the Rambam, it means to say, what will he do? He'll have to work a little bit, he'll have a lot in Bachshim, will be able to have Parnasa. Not that you don't work at all, because we know Shittas Rambam, that taking money from the Tzibur is a Chilul Hashem. So obviously that's the Rambam L'Shita. So the Radvaz already says this. Obviously it's the same thing as over here in this Pirush HaMishnah. That's why he says V'yekel olive oil has mine. It'll make it easier for him. V'amu perik oil. And then it says the next stage of the Mishnah says Chalaperik meno oil HaTorah. What's mean perik oil HaTorah? Okay. So here it means something else. As opposed to Makabel of Torah, it means Chayvus Alimud. What is called perik meno oil Torah? So the Rambam, it means something else. Perik oil ha'imr termina shemayim ve'eni soivla. Can't stand it. It's takir. Some you feel irksome with your religion. So it says, "Kol ha'perik meno oil Torah, perik meno oil Torah, nice enough oil malchus oil derech eretz." Rambam sagt, it says, "Ha'imr termina shemayim ve'eni soivla." V'amru chorus ala luchos, cherus ala luchos. Klemar cherus min chayvus hazman v'chayvus hamelech. Shemekabel zadavar mefurish ala luchos. So it's interesting. So there's 2 points here. There's Mekabel Old Torah. The Rambam was not just to say because you Mekabel Old Malchus Shemaim and you're nice from a Jew. Here he says when you have to Mekabel Yischayvus Alimut. When it came to Perik Old Torah, it's not that. It doesn't mean the same person which is Perik because he doesn't have Yischayvus Alimut. He does it. It says Ein Soivla. He can't handle. He doesn't. He feels irksome with his religion. That's what that seems to be saying. I believe in Torah, but it's a pain in the neck. person which looks as the pain in the neck, this is what we say. Okay, showing you the right. Good. Okay, let's roll. Let's understand when we're talking about Pura Muchkeres and Muskeres over here. So I asked the question, and the answer is also quite simple. It's obvious from the Rishonim here that the scheres that we're talking about is that you only pay to the extent that this animal is going to work. You know, the pshat is like this: I'm giving you my Pura, and you're renting it from me, okay? And you only pay. It's like buying. It's like these rent-a-cars. That it depends how much you travel. That's what you pay per mile. Okay, you're only paying for the Pura which works. If the Pura doesn't work, you don't pay. That's what it comes out to be. Okay, that's the pshat in the Pura Muskes. So it comes out, practically speaking, that the rent you're getting is a product of the work. That's what you have to say. Otherwise, this Gemara makes totally no sense. So this is pshat. It's like these. It's by mile, as one would put it. So this is what the Gemara says. What the Gemara says, if that's the case, what's the shvach? The shvach is that my Pura, which is it's the chayred labor issue. See why? Because now it's not in my rishus. Repeat, we're not talking about the fact halacha. It's in an agam, so it's definitely not my rishus. But what does it mean to say? It means to say it's not under my control because now when someone else has the rights of usage, it's beget ain't a rishus as far as that's concerned. And what did we say? After became the guy takes pishnaim. Now what's the pshat taka? Why does he pay pishnaim? Why taka does he pay pishnaim? So you have to say why? Because what is this? We have to understand what the chisoron of shvach yitzia to explain why yes and why no. To explain the chiddush, we have to understand the difference between shvach yitzia versus shvach b'meila to be able to answer this question in Havana, and that we're going to do. I don't know if I'll get that today, but probably tomorrow. We have to look as far as that's concerned. Although the halachas as far as gvias bal chay from shvach. The Sugim Bab Mitzvah Daf Tesvav and the Sugim Kufnun Zayin and Bab Basra, where also the Rishonim discuss differences between Shvach Yidei Yitzir versus Shvach B'Meila. I suggest you look into that there and find the Agdorish there, because here there's really not much. We only know here there's a difference of Shvach Yidei Yitzir and Shvach Yidei B'Meila, and we take for granted that the Shvach B'Meila, this is called, why is it B'Meila? Because the mechanism was set up before. The mechanism was set at B'chaya Av, and that causes the B'meila. It's a shvach de B'meila. That's what happened over here. Since the father transformed this cow or animal into a mechanism of making money if it works, so that was set up before. So it's not a cow which is working. It's a mechanism which is now yielding money, and the mechanism was set up by the father. Good. So that's right. That obviously is considered. That's obviously is enough to be called the Yimotze. Why do I say this? Because we all know that Lamais, at the end of the day, what's an Akudas HaMachlekes? What does Rebbe argue with Rabbanan? So the Gemara says in Kuf Chavdal Damid Beis, if you look at it, Itmar, after the first quarter of the page, Tana Rav Blachman B'Shas Sifra Beirav, B'chol Shemotz Olei Prat L'Shvach Sheshbichu Yisrael Yoshim Lachem Mitzavim, Shvach Sheshofkun Chosim Lachem Mitzavim Shakel, Umani Rebbe. This is one brisa. I'm trying to show something that they said we have a Kabbalah's Chazal. We'll learn that the Mitzvah also when we get there. That Rebbe is also coming from a drasha. The drasha is Yematzalei. Now we have to know the Agdor of Yematzalei. Yematzalei, whatever it is, Shvach Yidei Maisa is called less Yematzalei than Shvach the Mamela. I'm just trying to say that we shouldn't stand, and stagnate. We'll go further. We'll see the Agdor of the drasha. But first of all, that's what we have to look at. So we say that l'chayr the Agdor is if the mechanism is around, that's called Yematzalei. It's enough. It's called Matzui. Okay? And that the Kiddush is there. And also Muchkeres. Now, Muchkeres is it's a different type of an agreement. There, the agreement is not according to ours. Actually, it really depends on how much it yields. That's already another business. It's another type of mechanism. That the yield depends on how much tachlis comes out of it. Not the hours of the working of the Torah, but what will happen with the working of the Torah in the field. So that l'chayr is a further mechanism. It's already something which is less matzui because it depends also on other factors. After beginning the chiddush is this is also called matzui. This is l'chayr together. And why is it called l'chayr? Because at the end of the day, all that mechanism was set up. That's an interesting. That's all that mechanism was set up before, which is very, very interesting. One wonders this has nothing to do with davar shebala olam and loy bala olam, because it would seem to be that all these things would be called loy bala olam, especially when we talk about muchkeres. Muchkeres depends on the yield of how much is what.
Is Rebbe learning that muchkeres and muskeres is talking about the shvach is what is it may?
I'm not even, you have to talk a little louder.
Rebbe is saying that the shvach is it may schira and may and what you gain from the.
Look at the Rashbam and Taisvis as you know them, Dov Kuf Chav Dalet, that we're not that we're talking about this schar. Rashbam Kuf Chav Dalet Amadadra Masa Af Muchkeres also the Taisvis there that you know that we know that you don't ask me that you know that's the Rashbam. I'm learning. Thank you. I'm learning at the moment I leave it to Rashbam. We're talking about the schar.
Rabbi, the Ritva says here that the Rashbam.
I think I'm talking about the Rashbam. Should I repeat again for you know how many sheets? There are more sheets here than I have fingers in my hand. First, let me learn a push to Gemara with the Rashbam.
The Ritva says the Rashbam holds not like that.
I don't want to say that's the way I see it because I don't want to be in. I don't want. I'm going to stick it on the Rashbam and I'm safe. Let me learn Rashbam. That's the term first in Rashbam of Kuf Chav Dalet or Medalach. That's also Taisvis Kuf Chav Dalet.
Where in Kuf Chav Dalet?
Again?
Where in Kuf Chav Dalet?
First Rashbam, Af. Did you learn it? The first Taisvis, Af. Yeah, you haven't got there yet? What have you guys been doing?
Rabbi, there's other ways to learn the Rashbam.
I don't think so, but let me roll a bit because I'm really not interested. May I say I don't think so? Is that okay? We don't have to agree. Thank God. Hallelujah. No, I'm not. You're not doing my mezainis, so this is now shvach the mamela. You understand? Now I take care of my own mezainis. Okay, weiter. So the chayre it's ganz pashut. The Nafkamin what is that? Is chakir? The Rashbam says. And when we're talking about chakir, we're talking about the like in an iska. It says you get 2/3 of the, you get half of the revach, I get half of the revach. So we're talking about what you're going to gain, what the field is going to yield, which is really a big chiddush. Because Bishlam, when we talk about schiras, it means say, listen, this animal plows, I get money. I don't care if the rain comes down and the seeds go well. Chakira will depend exactly on many other factors. To say that's also called mamela and that the mechanism is in place is a big tzarich because there the mechanism is not the mechanism enough will not yield. It also depends on the weather and other factors. Therefore, this is a tremendous chiddush when you talk about muchkeres. But whatever it is called somehow shvach of the animal. The animal generates this reality. Okay, I can accept this. So then the Gemara says there. So we read a little further. So what's Raya Ba'afar mean? Okay, also Raya Ba'afar. What sheet is Rashbam in Raya Ba'afar? So we know the Rashbam says in Ba'afar, the Ramasa Ba'afar, Achu Emedo de Lo Chasim Rezayne. Come on, period. Then it says Violda, Chord Beit Lepi That's the way the Ramasa was put here. It obviously points to say you differentiate. You're saying Raya Ba'afar has two, and Violda are two separate things. And this is Mavur also in the Rashbam, the last Rashbam of the page, when the Rashbam writes, when the Gemara says, the Gemara says like this, so the Gemara, do me the Rebbe for my Rebbe for Shvachah, the Melech like a chassid b'mezayna zot Rashbam. What is shvachah b'meila by Raya Ba'afar? Me'esev asada. I didn't know that vladais come me'esev asada. I don't know. I don't. At least, to the best of my knowledge, vladais do not come from esev asada. Okay. So obviously, what's he talking about? Here he's explaining what the shvach is, and he's saying the shvach is me'esev asada. So it's clearly writing that the shvach is simply the added pounds, like when you sing, and I have a new shot today when I was singing the leil. I see the kilo noy, kilo yofa, kilo noy, kilo yofa, etc. I now understand it. You gain weight, kilo yofa, and kilo noy. A kilo and a kilo and a kilo. It seems to be growing. The same thing here. Kilo noy, kilo yofa. This is what this is. He added weight. It's very simple. That's the shot. Okay, and then Violda, there's a nice comma there. Violda is another possibility. It's muchach in the Rashbam. I don't know how to tell this to you. It doesn't mean to say that Mizainis is the reason therefore it's alive. That's what we're talking about. The moment we're talking about the Revach of the Me'esav Asada.
Maybe. Case of a dying Shmuelov.
Read this way. Are you saying something, Toby?
Isn't that a case of a dying Shmuelov where even the Rabbanon and Rebbe would all agree that?
That's an interesting question, but this is before Rav Papa.
So we don't know Rav Papa? The Rashbam's doing Sosa Rav Papa?
Now we're doing before Rav Papa. And also depends how we understand Rav Papa. Is Rav Papa answering a question or is his own private view? L'maisa, Rav Papa says, if you only want to Pshuti Mani Rebbe, who the Rambam paskin the Allah, and he doesn't paskin Rebbe. Relax. 1 minute. Let me develop this more. So, yeah, this is definitely what?
He didn't say anything about the fact that is the shvach. He just says what's
he talking about? Shvacha de Mamela.
It's coming from.
Translate the word. Just read the sentence in English to me. When I talk louder, read the sentence in English. No, in English. I want to hear it. Translate a running translation in English.
The benefit that comes on its own unhinged from the grass.
That's it. So the benefit comes from the grass.
Everything is fat. How does it? What's the difference?
What grass? The grass I smoked yesterday. What do you mean, what grass?
No, the grass. It's eating grass and it's getting fat and it's also giving birth. It's the same thing. What's the difference?
Are you not feeling well?
I think so.
You're not feeling well.
Okay. I just want to know why.
You know how to read? Do you read newspapers this way too? Have you ever read? Are you crazy? Read this text. The shvach comes b'meila from the Esav Asada. One would not describe children as a shvach which comes mi Esav Asada. That is preposterous.
Only way it gives birth is if it has food.
That's not what he's. Now you're making a lumdala, but he doesn't say that lumdala. Rashbam knows how to talk in a very big way. You know him, right? He doesn't write like in a Rashi. I would let you go. At least not saying that you're crazy. I'd say you're wrong. But to this, you're right. I don't know how. I understand how anyone could read otherwise. So my right up for shvachid of Mamela. What this means? The Esav Asada. Yeah, he gained weight. And except for that, now there's also a concept of v'yoldo. That's the chayra, the pashat of pshat in the Rashbam. If not, we need to be memashkin ourselves. Or the Rashbam forgot how to write Hebrew. This is not how one can read the Rashbam. But through it's not mi Esav Asada. It means say mitzvah. It means the shvachad of God, which is miskayim because of the Esav Asada. The best you're going to say that if you wouldn't feed it, it would die, and then it wouldn't give birth. Mashenkin, since it's alive because it has free food in the meadow, therefore it has the strength to give birth.
If it's a Me'esav Asada, where does it come from?
Then I'd really I have to change my name. This is shtiyot.
Where does it come from? Rebbe?
What?
Rebbe, where does the blood come from if it doesn't come Me'esav Asada?
Did you come from Esav Asada? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did.
You came from Esav Asada? Ask your mother.
The plant matter isn't all. I didn't just come from. You need to eat in order to build more cells.
Again, I hate to say this now. The fact that you are now talking to me also comes from Esav Asada. Huh?
I don't understand.
I think so. What can I tell you? You don't understand. One does not say something is a derivative of Esav Asada. The best you will say, the Esav Asada nurtured, which allowed certain things to happen.
Yeah, but the fat doesn't come Esav Asada. It comes through the para.
Okay, this is enough.
The para, the processes that happen.
Do you want me to start explaining? I can explain. You don't understand the difference.
It's going on the word memela, not on the word shvach.
Let me tell you something. I've gained weight since I've been stuck in this house for 6 weeks. I'm not pregnant.
Rabbi, it's talking about the word memela, not the word. It's going on the word memela. Why is more memela then?
Mem. What's the mem there? You forgot the word mem? The mem is also going in the memela, or the mem going to the shvach?
What does the memela mean?
Answer my question. What does the letter mem mean? This is like terrible. Okay, so let me go. You're crazy.
Rabbi?
When did you make Aliyah, David?
2 summers, a summer ago.
But you've been with English-speaking people the whole time. You have to go to the Israeli program.
Okay.
Rabbi?
No, I don't mean Korea. I mean just to know Hebrew. Shtiyat. Right? I mean, you shouldn't have said that. You may be forced to say it, and I know why. Okay? And the real question is what Dovi asked. Okay? And this creates a major headache. But this Rashbam, unless he says what he says. Okay? So that's why I decided to read it. Okay? Okay, this is the Chayr it says. So now we understand the idea of Mucheres and Muskeres as far as Mazoinus is concerned. So the Rashbam says, Af Mucheres and Muskeres, Yishvachtim Memeir Kemaira. Dein Ma'alam is Mazoinus, and therefore, why is it called Mamela? Therefore, Mamela, basically the mechanism is in place and no one has to add anything to the mechanism. The mechanism is now self-sufficient. As far as the father is concerned, he set up something which brings money. And he or the estate does not have to add anything to it. Mashenkin, if they had to add something to it, the pshat is no. So the estate still has to come and contribute to this reality. Okay, here there's derech agav, something which is really very interesting. I don't know if you notice in the Aliyas and in the Ran, there's a chiddush here which has to be explained. All this is going to come into place once I take apart and understand what this machlokes is and what the gedorim of shvach are. But the Aliyas race, the Ran also. I'll read the Ran. Lashon of the Ran is. Yeah. Kol heichad ichserbe mezayne inami bonu batim v'notu kramim afilu mitfusas habayis afilu the Rebbe lo yishakel. That's found in the Aliyas and found in the Ran. Okay, what's the chiddush of afilu mitfusas habayis? In other words, what did we think? We thought if the Yisraelim invested privately of their own funds, then that were pashut. That's called shvacha yidei yitzia, and that's not part of the tfusa. That's interesting. But the chiddush is even if they were mi'anshei habayis. Now one has to try to understand what this means. If the people were moisiv just from their own stuff, they have no schusim of that. What's the halach if someone comes and decides to nurture my cow? He's a yored, bershus. Very nice. He'll get kishlei ha'ir. We'll pay him. But he has no bailus in the Karen. He has to get paid. That's all. He's not a partner. And here we're coming to say, so what's the difference if they were mashbiach me'atfusa mashbiach from their own money? Ma'inaf kemina. A feelish be'ir loy mi boy them mashbiach from their own money. That's kila davar pashit yaisa. It's called shvacha yidei yitzia. Mashenki, we would have thought if they did a pu'ula of hashbacha me'atfusa, that would not be. Now, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? If they're mashbiach from the tfusa, afilu min tfusa, we say afilu the Rebbe lo yishakel. I want to understand what that means. That's a very important thing. The Ran, look at Rabbeinu Yoina, he basically says the same thing. All this has to lead to understand what are the svoros here b'chlal. Okay, let's go weiter for a moment. Read that Rashbam. Af mucheres u'muskeres b'shvachtim u'melech kemari de'ein malem mezaynis. V'im timer lister rei be'efer v'anu yadana de'u adin l'mucheres u'muskeres ech lo mechaser mezayna. V'lamed l'mister mucheres u'muskeres klal de'itzich surei ba'afer lamed aleim de'blei chaser mezaynis mayre. Itzich salkadat da'chamina kol mucheres u'muskeres lo yishvachtim u'melu. Ela yidei b'nei adam shechoshim ba'voibnim ba. Not that simple to say that the mechanism is set in place. Someone has to do something. Okay? A mechanism which demands someone to do something. It's very nice to have a mechanism, but someone has to press the button. And here's more than just pressing the button. The mechanism is if you do and contribute whatever you want to do, then that'll be money. Weiter, Kemash Malon, the Kivan that you say Atzmon, Ein Choshim Ben, Vein Torchim Ben, Ela Acherim. If the Yisayim that we would do it, then this would be called a Shvach Alidei Yitzir. But if it's not the Yisayim Atzman, it is someone else, and that mechanism was set up, there's a Kemash, this is not called Shvach Alidei Yitzir, it's called Shvach Alidei. Once again, if we're looking at relative concepts of Yimatzeh, as found in the Drush and Chodal Lamed Beis, we can start thinking Balabatish Svaros. Because basically what we're looking at what the Agdor of Yimatzeh is. If you don't have an Agdora, what is more Yimatzeh, less Yimatzeh? It's a relative term. As we see Lahedya, the Rabbanim are might from Yimatzeh, all Shvach. It seems to be, at least according to this Gemara at the moment. Mashenkin Aliba the Rabbi, according to Rav Nachman's Drush, it's not that way. Only Shvach they can see it. The question is this just a relative more or less, or is there any real thinking here? Is there any real svaros here? That's the question we have to ask. How do we understand this Gemara? The Gemara says on this Mani Rabbihi, V'lo Yasinu Umani. What's he doing here? Mani Rabbihi, V'lo Yasinu Umani. D'loi mahada tirutz el klal. El miltza ba'apri nafshe uda k'boy the Gemara. What was, there are two Gersos. If you look at Rabbi Seinar Rishonim, and also in the Dukei Seifrim, for you, one knew that Taka are two different Gersos. If they Rabbi Seinar Rishonim, they had different Gersos. And the Rashbam was Machriya that we say Mani, not Umani. Because he said, it's not going back to the original teretz. Which original teretz are we talking about? What original teretz would he be going up against? Which question, what teretz? Well, let's look very carefully. What were the questions? What were the teretz? What were the possibilities? He just writes, what does he write? He doesn't say it can't be. He said that's not the pshat. He's not trying to refute the previous answers. It could be because it's really impossible to learn that way. Or it could be, no, it's possible to learn that way, but he chooses, he doesn't think that's the Pashup Pshat in the Gemara. That's interesting. If the Girsel of fun was Umani, and he had to change that Vav because of that, there wasn't just something which was, I feel it's more appropriate, it has to be something which is Mukhla. Or the Rabbeinu Tam, his brother, writes on him that my brother has a light hand when it comes to my Giasas for him. If you look at the Agdama of Sefer Yoshi, Taka writes on his own brother, on Rashbam, Tikotses Yodam Shemagias for him. Now you should read the Agdama of Sefer Yoshi, talking about his brother, the Rashbam. Someone should cut his hand off. So here we have a case. The Rashbam had a girsa of Umani, and he decided to change it to Mani. Because he has to have a compelling argument as to why. Okay, what is the compelling argument as to why? Or he seems to be saying, now, is it because it's impossible to learn the other way before? Interesting. I wish he would have said that. Doesn't say that. He just says, no, it's not that. He's going on further. If you want to say it's impossible, then he should have told us why it's impossible. Unless it's so obvious that no one has to explain. Well, what tirutzim are there before and in the Gemara, which seem to be so obvious that we're not going to be mahadar? And obviously, according to some Gersos and Rishonim, they are mahadar on that. Why do I say this is important? Because you open up Rambam and Hilchos Nachlos. Oh God. How he paskins the sugya. Rambam Hilchos Nachlos. Peri Gimel Lachabeis. Ram Paskins in Peri Gimel Nachlas Lachabeis. He niechlem avim por muskeres o mukeres. Oishe Seroa ba'ofa v'yolda abchor notel bo ubuvlada pishnayim. That's the Brisa. Then it says afterwards, in Halacha Daled, Ein abchor noitel pi shnayim b'shvach sheshofchen nechosim la'achem mises aviv elamala oisei hashvach b'damim v'noisna yeter lepashut v'ushishtanu hanechosim kigoin karmel shenasu shipelim v'kafnis shenasu tzmorim avim shofchu machmas atzman v'loy nishtanu. This is the memory of Papa that you must know by now. Kigoin ilon koton shegodal v'nasa aviv v'aretz shehel asirtain Hareza Neutel Bishvach Bishnaim Im Machmas Oitzoy Ishbiach Einoi Neutel. So what does it say here? That normally you don't take a shvacha de memela. Normally you don't take a shvacha de memela. When do you take it? When do we say? What does that mean? If it's something which developed on its own, you was shlupfen asetamra, etc. Read the Russian again. Which is a different shame. And although it's mi'atzman, we say ein abchor noitel. Aber in shachu machmas atzman, v'loy nishtanu ki gain ilon katan, etc. Then we say the halacha is a reza noitel b'shvach b'shnayim, v'im machmas mitzvah shbiach ein noitel. He paskins Rabbana. He paskins Rabbana. And over here he writes, Yenichel mavim poem musker so musker shoyserei ba'af v'yolda abchor noitel ba ubevlada b'shnayim. The Ravid asks immediately, Amar Avram, Zam Mechaber Paisi Kerebi, Vein Alacha Kerebi. The Brisa says, Mani Rebbe. Isn't that what the Gemara says? The Sanya Ein Apart Libshar Shvach and Chazach Misavim, Rebbe Eimer Ani, Pchonet Bishnai, Bishvach Shvach and Chazach Misavim. And we understand that this is what we're talking about in this Brisa. So the Ravid asked the question, I don't understand. If the Brisa goes according to Rebbe, what are you doing? How can you stop asking this Brisa? The Maggid Mishnah points out and asks, I don't understand. Why isn't he asking B'kayach Stira? If you're passing this Brisa, you say you understand he's going according to Rebbe and Allah base. Why doesn't he say, but now Allah Dalit, he passes Zalibid Rabbanon? He passes the principle of Rabbanon Allah Dalit, yet he passes Allah base, something which the Gemara says goes Zalibid Rebbe. That's what it says. That's a big question. The Maggid Mishnah, you can also look at, very important to see in Reisha and Ches, look at the Prisha, Barchava Gedola. Okay, really beautifully written, and it's worth seeing it. They basically understand that Mani Rebbe is a question. Mani Rebbe, are you trying to say that the Brisa goes only according to Rebbe, not a limit of Rabbanan? And the answer is no, that's not true, because we have a cloud of Rav Papa, of Shlupav, and Asatamra, Dikla, Alim, etc. That's how the Gemara learns. Basically, that's the Maggid Mishnah. You want me to, if you have it in front of you, it would be great. I'm going to read the whole thing. It would take me forever. Okay, I'll just read a piece. Ad kan lo kimna I Brisa de Pora Kerebi elamikame damer Rav Papa de Ba'ara umaskasirta and Dikla v'alim afilu Rabbanim Moide the Shakil ve'heves hakadaytach mi'ikora de Rabbanim pliga afilu b'shvach de Mamela. That's how we thought in the beginning. Any shvach de Mamela, even if it gains weight, we would have thought Rabbanim pliga. Lo yishtani, doesn't matter. And that's why the Gemara says Mani Rebbe. Avubasa the Amar Ravaya, the Papa, the Afilu Rabbanim Moide b'shvach de Mamela. Blo Ishtani, Brisa, the Pora, Afilu Rabbanim Nasya. The shvach de Mamela, he v'lo Ishtani. Zed das Rabbeinu. El Shekoshle, Fekter Akashi, what do you do? It says El Pora v'yolda. The mashma de Vlad ho Ishtani, and that's Dafka Ken Ishtani. So why do you say that in the Rambam passes Halacha b'Vlada? He has the Girsa of V'yolda, although there are other Girsas in this price without V'yolda. The Rambam has the Girsa of V'yolda because he passes it before Shemlocha base. So he has the Kasha, that's called Ishtani, it's Mikora Uber, and afterwards it became a Vlad. It's like Carmel, Shanasa Shibli, whatever it is, Shlupfer, Nasatamri, etc. This goes into a shtickle. Not look, once again, I would love to talk about this if you people would by now be into this already. I don't know what you're doing, but I suggest you look up the Shulchan Aruch, the way this is brought down in Shulchan Aruch Reisha and Ches, and look at the Bir Agra. Look at the Bir Hagayla and the Bir Agra, And the Bir Agratak is sent to Hilchus Gideva Gzela by Shinui, whether an Uber is called a Shinui, an Uber Shanasim Vlad is called a Shinui or not. Is it not? The Gra sent to Shin Tzadik Daled, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Look up the Gra in Bir Agra, in Reisha and Ches, where he passed through this halacha. But this is basically the sheet. Now, the Ksais, I think it's the Bach, they all go with the same Agdora. That the Mani Rebbe is either is an exclamatory, or that's what they all learn. They don't. The Magid Mishnah just says Mani Rebbe goes according to Rebbe, and then Reb Papa changes it. According to the Bach, the Sma, Pashtus of the Beragayla, that the Mani Rebbe is a kasha. Mani Rebbe is only according to Rebbe. And what's the problem? It's not Mistaver. Now, why is it not Mistaver? So the Ksais, this is a bit funny. The Ksais in Reish Chaim Ches wants to say, because how can you possibly say it goes according to Rebbe? Rebbe holds, as Toshis says in Daf Kuf Chav Gimel Amud Beis, Ramatzak Kesover, that Matanas Shalei Hurmu, Lav Kimash Hurmu Dami. So the Ksais thinks that the Mani Rebbe goes on that territory of the Gemara. When the Gemara answered, Matanas Shalei Hurmu Kimash Hurmu Dami, that can't be. It doesn't go according. It goes according to Rebbe. Rebbe doesn't hold that way. That's how the Ksos learns. It's very clear that the Rashbam understood. It's going to give similar to what the Tzais is saying, as opposed to all the other Noishe Kalim and the Drisha, etc., the Magid Mishnah, which simply say Mani Rebbe is a statement. It's Mani Rebbe, not Umani Rebbe. And Eino Chinami, the Chazorah isn't this new idea of Reb Papa. Beforehand, we talk until Reb Papa, we talk until the Limud Rabbani, even Shvachad Mamela. But the Yibchor doesn't take, it's called Roy. It really forces to look in Dinei Shvach by Balchoy. Is it different? What the halach about Balchoy? If a Balchoy takes Shvach and the Mamela Mikra did, why would this be called Roy? We got work here. That's why I sent you to Bamitzir Tezvav, if you saw in your notes. Okay. That's Roy Rabbi Sheinu, but it seems to be from the Rashbam that no, that there's a tzad to say is Mahada Tirutz Del El. Now, which Tirutz Del El are we talking about? The only Tirutz Del El we have as follows is what? Let's look at which Tirutz are we talking about. We're talking about, first of all, when we have the Kasha by Israel Chai Keva, we asked the Kasha Pshita. What did we answer? B'makir Kunaz Lina. That's answer number one. By Mugdash, we said Lavdi Day. What did we answer? Very fine. Then we had another question. What do we have to have both for? What's the Kamash Malon? What's the Rebbe? And we answered the idea of now, which one could it have been Umani Rebbe? If you look at it carefully, the only one could be, if you think carefully, is only that thing which Tosh has the kasha of Ligmar Dav Git and Git. You're telling me it goes aliba the Rebbe, because that's a Braise, it goes according to Rebbe. It doesn't make sense. The Tirutz Kama of Matan Shalom Kushmur doesn't work. If you think carefully, which is he trying to walk away from? So he says, if the gear says that's now why would he walk away from it? I think it's a smart pshuta. He would walk away from that because we all know that the idea of matanish lehumu kumushurumadom we bought in the beginning of the sugya, as we learned in Rabbeinu Yoin and the Ritva, is a lashon mushal. The basic machlaikis in Gittin, where the matanish lehumu kumushurumadom is talking about chumas and maestras, where there's a real din of harama and kriyas shame with harama. By Zoylev Chayv Keiva, it's the adrab, the kushas at Taishvis is modna. The kushas at Taishvis is a modna kashan. That, if anything, could be the pshat in the Rashba. That's why he doesn't have to. It's self-evident. You could have learned like the Ksais. Taishvis definitely thinks this is a question, and the Rashbam simply said there's nothing. It's a no case. That is a possibility. Otherwise, I don't have pshat in the Rashbam. What's he being mafkia? They seem to self-evident, and Pasha doesn't even have to explain. Okay, whatever it is, it would seem to be vishvi. It seems to be the dafka kama v'kama of these. I don't think that Mani Rebbe is a kasha. It's a tmiya. It's not a statement. It's a tmiya. It's not a statement, as opposed to just a statement. This is how l'chari you learn. L'maisa, what can we do with all these pirushim? It's the first not that way intercepted. All these pirushim are nice, but all nishtamat intercepted. And we have to come to a conclusion. Either the Rambam doesn't pass according to the Sefta because he comes to a conclusion that our Sugis Gemara is the Loiketei Sefta, then we have to walk away from it totally. Because the Chari, according to the Sefta, this is Mamish, the Din Mukeres and Muskeres is a dogma of Rebbe per se and Rabbanan argue. Where's the Sefta? You have it again, open up the Sefta Perik Zayin. Allah Beis, sagt der Sefta, ein Abchor Neutel Pishnein Bishvach Shishbichu Nechos Nachem Mises Aviyem. That's Tanakama. Rabbi Omer Erni, Shabchor Neutel Pishnein Bishvach Shishbichu Nachem Mises Aviyem, Sha'af Shelo Yishbiach. That's a Kishalahem. Ketzad, and now there's a Ketzad on that. Hayishalai Par Mukeres Muskeret says the Acherim Par Raya Be'efer. Habchor Neutel Pishnein. And then it says, "Ve'einer neitel b'zoy pishnayim b'zoy l'chayim v'keva." So the Chayv Shteidak before she it's very clear that this is the Rebbe doesn't pass in this Tosefta because our Raisa says he's neitel b'zoy l'chayim v'keva, and this Tosefta says "Einer neitel b'zoy l'chayim v'keva." That Maniach. This seems to be a double pashut. It's Einer neitel b'zoy pishnayim l'chayim v'keva. And this goes according to Rabbi. It seems to be saying that Israel, now what does this mean? He basically told that Shvach, according to the Kama, we don't take. Shvach, according to Rabbi, we take. If it's Shvach, at the moment, it means Shishbich, the Mamela, but it doesn't say that you'll see in two lines later whether it's Mamela or not. Stomach the Shvach is Shvach the Mamela. He says that basically there's a time on that, but then he ends at the end, that ain't no chinami. Is called Roy, even according to Rebbe. The Gemara afterwards, the Bryce after says, Rebbe Omer called Davar Shaloi Pilpul L'Bay Yisayim L'Achem Yisaviyim Atayt L'Pchor Neitel Pishnayim B'Chacham Omerim Ein Neitel Pishnayim Ela B'Chol Asher Yimatzer Loi. Period, and the Bryce goes on. So it's before in the Bryce that the case of Muskeres is a case that going on the Machlekes of Rebbe and Chacham. So that's the case. It's very pashut to me that the Rambam obviously didn't work with this Tosefta for whatever reason it be. Now we have to figure out where is it? It's either, is it because of this din of Zerel Chaim V'Keva? Why is this a machriya? It's walk against Mishras HaTanoim that this goes down Liba the Rebbe as far as Mucheres and Muskeres. What does one got to do with the other? Now, niach that the Tosefta seems to be doing between Tosefta, the Brisa, Tosefta, and our Brisa. Our Brisa, we say that he's not Zerel Chaim V'Keva. And there he says, this is something else. Okay, but there's no reason because that to say that he's arguing also with this is a case that I'll leave it to Rebbe. Does this mean to say that he doesn't know the Toseftas? Okay, possibility. Other possibility would be that he's very clear that our Sugis Abavi doesn't go with this Tosefta for whatever reason it be. Which is more mistaver. Because goodness sakes, if I know how to read a Tosefta, and a lot of regular John Does do, he definitely knew. That's not it. F. Shabbi Roim didn't know them, but Rambam definitely knew his Toseftas. Because they were written by then. Okay, he had a decent library, obviously. So L'chayr Tetzorach Yirun Gadol is Das Rambam. What is it in the Sugya which says that the Bavli doesn't work with the Tosefta? That is the question on the table. What?
Why is Rebbe assuming that the Tosefta, that's not a side, like, Tosefta is not going back to the sheet of the Tanakama when it says being Notel?
When it says, I'm a little lost, which part? I'm asking on the question of Ketzad. My question is on the words Ketzad, which follow Rebbe. Ketzad. If you see the Tosefta right, it says Rabbi Aimer Anisha Kabchor Neitel Pishnayim B'Shvach Shishbichu Hakim Yisavim Sha'af Shalei Yishbich Shalem Keitzad Haisalei Par Mucheres Muskeres etc. Neitel Pishnayim. Well, that's a Keitzad. Which Keitzad? It's not going to Tanakama. The Tanakama says Ein a Neitel Shvach. The only one that says Neitel before is Rebbe, and there's a Keitzad, and you end with a did that you are Neitel. So it's obviously a Keitzad of Rebbe. Muchas, according to Tanakama, this is not true.
Correct. But when it goes back to being Notel, that could be going back to the Tanakama.
Which word are you talking about? I don't care about that. I actually I don't think so, because then once again you'd have to have. There's no reason to say it. I don't know, but that's not what I'm bothered with, Shmuel. I'm not bothered with that at all. My question is that here it's in the first Tosefta that the Brisa only goes according to Rebbe and Rabbanan argue by Por Muchkeres and Muskeres. And the Rambam Paskins Rabbanan and Paskins the Brisa of Muchkeres and Muskeres. That's your problem. So all the Neshikanim tried to make the mani into a kasha, into a tema, and basically after a papa, all this ceases to exist. The Rambam doesn't hold that way. The Tosefta definitely doesn't hold that way. So why would the Rambam walk away from a Tosefta to say this thing? Why would he do this? What forces him in the sugyas to learn not like the Tosefta? That's the question I have to ask. Is that clear, Shmuel? Not hearing you. Hello?
Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so now how does this work? So what we really have to do, in order to understand this, we have to go to the basics of understanding what taka is the pshat and Tosefta according to in the Gemara we had. Let's look at the Gemara carefully. In the Gemara we had, my time of the Rabbanan, Amar Kro Losus Le Pishnayim Atona Kaya Rachmana. Mama Atona Adamatul Yadei Avchelik B'chera Adamatul Yadei. Which I will explain shortly. I hope you saw the Rashba and the Rabbeinu Yoin, of course. V'Rebbe Omer Amar Krapi Shnayim Makish Chelik B'chera L'chelik Pashut Machelik Pashut Afagav Delay Matul Yadei Avchelik B'chera Avdelay Matul Yadei. Now this is a Bachlaik dealing with what? With Shvach. We're not talking about a Roy Gomer because that no one said anywhere that Rebbe says Roy Gomer. He only talks about Shvach. So we're talking within Shvach. Ad Mutter Yadei is a reason, and therefore the Mayit even Shvach. L'chayre at this stage even Shvach the Mamela. Okay, according to everybody before a Papa. Okay, even Shvach the Mamela, and he comes and says no, it's not Mayit because there's another drush of what of the Makish. There's a Hekesh. Okay. Good. Now, obviously, is this just the reason? Why do you think this is the pshat in the Hekesh? Why does one choose A and choose B? Obviously, there's underlining svaros here. What's working here? And then we have in Amid Beis again, as I started, Itma Tana Rav Nachman B'Shas Sefer Beirav B'Chol Sheyimatzulei Prat L'Shvach Sheshbichu Yoshim Acham Misad Aviyim Av Shvach Sheshavku Nechasun Acham Misad Aviyim Shokel Umani Rebbe. So l'chayra, what this goes is going to Rabbi Vashtei do l'chayra. If you have that price, so what we have really is as follows. What it seems to be, what is the svara chitzayna? What would you say before you had a pasuk? By the bare fact that Rabbanan needed pasuk to be made shvach, that means there's a svara chitzayna that you would accept shvach to. That's what it seems to be. By the bare fact that Rebbe thinks, and at the end of the day, the question is, do we no? Let's take that as a given. And the Svar Chitzon is that Shvach should be ever the Pishnayim of a Bchor. But Yimatzeh is a reason to say why not. Okay? Now, we're not talking about the regular Choshe Yimatzeh. Say this includes also Shvach. Or it could be that, no, you basically understand the Pasuk Choshe Yimatzeh, the overall rule for all Roy. And Mintzad HaSvara, they think this is called Roy. In other words, the idea of Yimatzeh, the Rabbanan bought the my time and Dafkuf for the Chav Dal David Aleph. Is that a special use? Especially the Yimatzeh is talking about Shvach? Or we say, no, Yimatzeh is talking about all Roy. And Aswara, this is included in Roy. Pash, this is the second possibility, because we know that's the Makkah of Roy. So, L'chayre, Chashe Yimatzeh means, period. Ad de Matzeh Liyadeh, Ad de Matzeh Liyadeh. What does that mean? And therefore, Mamela, this is included in Yimatzeh. What is called Yimatzeh, its criteria is found from Matana. Since Matana, the get is Adamatul Yodeh, anything which is not Adamatul Yodeh is not called Yimatzeh. So this is a getter in what Yimatzeh is. So Rebbe, no, that's not true. We don't learn from that Hekesh, that Allah of Matana. We don't do that. We have to figure out why and what. He doesn't use that pasuk. Okay, once he doesn't use that pasuk, let's try to understand. It would seem to be, in other words, without that pasuk, Svar Chitzayna is that what? That Shvach is not included in Adirabba, I have a hekish to say, don't tell me the B'chor is different. And therefore, this would be called Yimatzeh. I say, Loi Ad Matal Yada is also by B'chor Mamel, it's not Yimatzeh. So everyone's working with drushes. Everyone here is working with drushes. Tanakam is working with a drusha to say that it is included is not included in Yimatzeh. And he's using a hekish to say it is included in Yimatzeh. So we're not what's forcing these drushas, or what it comes out according to this, that the Zifora Chitzaina is what? If Rabbanan said they need a drasha to tell me that it's not included in Yimatzeh, mashma, this would be included in Yimatzeh. And I have a drasha say it's not that way. So now what happens? So now the Zifora Chitzaina is that this is included in Yimatzeh. If that's the case, why does Rebbe have to have this drasha? It's enough to say, I don't doubt. The teretz is very simple because he needs to say the opposite. The only reason you said Yimatzeh because you have Matoni Kari Yachmani and translate it that way, Adra, Matoni Kari Yachmani, it's not at the Matoni Shus the other. And Memela, according to that, this will also not be included, this will include Yimatzeh. That's what it comes out to be. Now, L'chayre, if that's the case, what's the necessity of the next pasuk, Klashe Yimatzeh? The teretz says once Yimatzeh doesn't include the Yimatzeh does not exclude Shvach, and Alpha Pekin, there's a Yimatzeh, somehow he said this includes also Shvach Yidei Yitzir. And here there's a question. Again, there's no Yitur of Yimatzeh. Yimatzeh is there for Roy. And if you basically have a concept of Adamatul Yadei, what swore would you decide to say, no, Yimatzeh is Mamayit Shvach Yidei Yitzir?
Why does Rebbe assume that Rebbe held of Roy that Ein Bechor Notel Baroik V'Muchsik?
Louder?
Why does Rebbe assume that Rebbe held of Ein Bechor Notel Baroik V'Muchsik?
Why do you assume not? Because he only talks about Shvach.
Rebbe
only talks about Shvach. Bashma, it's not Shvach, he doesn't take.
Okay.
I learned the Brisa. The Brisa is talking about Shvach.
Rashbam says that Rebbe
does not. He makes a big difference. Read the Rashbam again carefully. Maybe you didn't read it well.
The Rashbam says that.
Rashbam does not say that Rebbe holds it every Roy he takes.
Every Roy.
So, in other words, where's he know the difference from Yimatzeh? There's only one pasuk for any Roy. It's Yimatzeh. There's no other pasuk.
Torah and Roy is from Yimatzeh?
All din Roy is from Yimatzeh, like. Okay? The question is, what's included in Yimatzeh? You're talking about different types. I know what you're talking about. Yimatzeh. So a Kochid has to work with a svara. That's what I'm trying to say. We can't hide behind drushes. This is not a Yitura which will create a Chiddush. This is a Hagdara. Now the svara is going to decide what its limits and scope is. That's it, Davar Pashit. So you are not going to be able to hide behind drushes. I want to put this on the table. It comes out at the end of the day that there's got to be a svara why Rebbe decides that logically this is included in Yimatzeh and this is not included in Yimatzeh. That's what I'm talking about. I want to understand what the svara behind this all is. It seems to be very clear that that's what's happening here. It's also saying more. Once the svara, it's instantly enough that the svara seems to be X, and because of that, you dash in the pasuk that way. Meaning to say that the svara alone would not be enough. In other words, Yimatzeh could hypothetically be all-encompassing. The svara is a svara to limit the idea of Yimatzeh. I want to sum this up again just to understand the framework of what we're doing in this block. What do I have here? I have here, Rabbanan would start giving a reason, since Matoya Kori Rachmana, therefore there's a lot should say the Adam Matul Yadei, and since Adam Matul Yadei, therefore Mamela Shvach, any Shvach is not Matul Yadei, that's it's a smite from what? So it's called Roy. What's it called, Roy? And therefore it's called not called Yimatzeh. Anything which is a davar shlei bala olam, it's called Roy, is mismait from Yimatzeh. Otherwise, what's the difference? By a pashut, you take anything. Losses shlei we give even Roy, anything by a pashut. A b'chor is dafke Yimatzeh. Okay, so what are you telling me? This whole pasuk here of Matane Kai Rachman Matla Yodei is a gila milsa how to define Yimatzeh. That's what it boils down to be. Kumtais, now it's another pashut. We have Yimatzeh, which is my b'chor. What's included in it? So you say basically, since Adamata Yodei is the Agdora of Chelik B'chayra, therefore Memela, this is right from Yimatzeh. What does Rebbe do? No, he doesn't think that's what it means. The Agdor of Chelik B'chayra is similar to the Agdor of Chelik Pashut, and therefore it's not mismayit from your Matzeh. That's what's happening here. That I understand. So what's the machlekes between them? What's the relation to Chelik B'chayra and Chelik Pashut? Is Chelik B'chayra different than Chelik Pashut, or is Chelik B'chayra similar to Chelik Pashut? So it actually starts by understanding what is the relation between these klakim are. And therefore, Mamela, we ask, do you think this is a hekish balma? Ein mashiv bala hekish. I understand. Is this a regular hekish? Pishnayim makish Chelik Pashut? Is this a machlekes and a keshim deraisa? Is that together here? Or is it in the scope of the hekish? Ask yourself the questions. When you have a machlekes and a kekish, you have to ask the question. And the hekish too. Rashi and Sukkah, we know that. Okay? The hekish, you're also not derish mi'atzmai. Rashi and Sukkah in the third parak, I think some people here learned it with me, right? Elazar, you should remember that, no? Davi, you even remember that. Okay. But at the end of the day, you see that even Rebbe after brings a pasuk in Amid Beis to remayit shvachai de yitzir. He needs something. In others, once again, what's he doing? There's a svara. The svaras are not enough. The svaras are enough to be say that's the pshat in the pasuk. So I want to understand what the svaras are here, because really it seems to be the whole machlekes is not a machlekes and drushes. It's a machlekes in understanding the relationships between chelik b'chor and chelik pashut, and the understanding the dynamics of the dinim of shvach, where the only place you're going to find is b'mshit azvav, okuf and zayin and basra, and then we'll understand what's happening. In light of this, I want to go back to the chapter.
Could Rebbe, before Rebbe goes back?
Wait, I want to really start something. Let me just. I'm shtickle about time. 1 minute.
Hey, could Rebbe just clarify one nekuda?
Oh God. Yeah.
Why is Rebbe? I didn't understand that. Why Rebbe thinks that Lost Yisrael is a gilui on Yimatzeh, according to Rabbanan?
Yeah, the whole din of Roy is only a din on Yimatzeh. There's nothing else. So whatever you're saying is explaining what's included in Yimatzeh. Adam Matal Yodeh. So what? Memel, it's not called Biyodai.
Why can't we say there are two different things? There's a concept of Roy and there's a concept of Adam Matal Yodeh.
What is Adam? How are you learning Adam Matal Yodeh? Let's think it very carefully. You're learning according to the Rashbam. It's called the Davar Shlei Bala Olam. That's called Roy in Hebrew. Is that called Roy?
Yes.
Hello? So what do you want?
One could be building off of the other. It doesn't have to be that it's a Gilui Milsa. It's.
What did it? What's the problem? Why is there a problem? The only problem is because it's a meat of matzui. Why by a pashit you can do it?
Because it's dafka on the Pishnayim.
What's the problem? Where's the pasuk that says there's a difference between chor and pashit? It's because it says Yematzeh. I don't know what you guys want. Read the Chumash again.
Okay.
You know what? We'll schmooze afterwards. So Mamela, so now you understand what I have a whole sugi here, which is like hitting me in the head like from 50 sides. That's what I'm trying to say. I have to figure this out. So Lamais the Tosefta start. The Tosefta is the first clue, which begins to understand the Shilas and Svara. Our job is that the Tosefta doesn't even bring the psukim. The Tosefta just says logic, at least when it comes to Rebbe. And what does the Tosefta say? Rebbe Omer Ani שהבכור נוטל פי שניים בשבח שהשביחו לאחר מסביהם, שאף שלא השביח כשלהם. That's his girsha. That's the girsha at Tfus. It's also Tfus Rishon, which is Venetia Reish Pei Aleph, if you really want to know. And all the Tfusim we have are coming out of Venice Reish Pei Aleph. But if you ever saw the Tfusim, you can really easily understand why a Beis and a Chof could be Mischalef. Because in all the Kisvei Yad, whether it's Erfurt or Wien or whatever we have available, it's with the Chof. It's with a Beis, not with the Chof. It's not Kishalahem, it's Bishalahem. Okay, but I'm an old. I'm going to try working with both. I want to understand because Darius, we had the Tosefta. People didn't have the Kisvei Yad for quite a few years now. Okay, we've been print since what's his name again? Gutenberg made the press We don't run around with kisviyad anymore. And the tfus was bishal kishalahem. But lamaisa, we know l'chayr it's a typo, and it's bishalahem. I want to know the difference of what's the svara at the end of the day. What's mean shaloi yishbiach kishalahem? Just as their chelik was mishtabeach, so also his chelik was mishtabeach. What does that mean? In the gears of Bishalahem, which is the gears of the emes of Tosefta, what the Tanoim really meant, that's all like Kisveyad. Okay? So what's he saying? It's not Kishalahem, it's Bishalahem. What's the big difference? The difference lies in only one thing. When you say Kishalahem, you're not pointing out, you're just describing that they're similar. There's a Chelik B'chayra and there's a Chelik Pashat, Chelkei Pashat and Chelik B'chayra. And for all as we know, they are two separate units, but there's no reason to say that one is different than the other. It's a nice way of saying that I have a chelik b'chayra, which is, let's just say, which is X, b'shas misa. There's a chelik b'chayra there, where it is exactly, we won't know until Chalukah, but there is a chelik b'chayra there. Now logic says that the reason you people get Yerusha equal in Shvach, because you understand that Shvach is an extension of the same thing. It's the estate which grew. And you have rights in the estate. I also have rights in this thing, this estate called Chelik B'chayra. And therefore that Chelik B'chayra grew. So the logic behind it is because whatever it's not, and I'm taking it with me, is it din? Is it because I'm saying, listen, what's this for behind? What's it trying to say? You would have thought it doesn't grow. What's he coming up against when he says this? Don't tell me that there's a difference. No, there's no difference. Okay, what was it said that there would be different? And then tell me, why do you think they're not different? Okay, that's where you go here immediately. So let's understand what exactly is the Kudas HaChiddush. Let's look at the Kudas HaChiddush. By Shalahem, it's a davar pashut. You're saying that the shvach, what does the shvach do? What is shvach? Is that something, what is shvach? What's the getter of shvach? Is it the same tfusa or is it added monies? Is this like added realities or is it an extension of what was? And there may be major differences because as far as after you read that or Zarua that I sent you to, there could be major differences depending on what the status of the Yerusha is prior to Chalukah. This is a remez, but I will explain this. But I just want to put this down to set down the questions, okay? There seems to be a svara chitzayin, a possibility to say that they are different. The Kamash Shmunon is no, Yishbiach Kishalahem. According to the Girsa of Bishalahem, as found in the Kisveyad, here it says something even clearer. Here it says that where the the Chelik B'chayra is not separate in a different entity than the Chelkei HaPashut. They are all basically in what we call the estate. And if the estate grew, he has a certain percentage of the estate. That's actually a very simple svara. Chelik B'chayra doesn't mean X amount of money. It means X amount of percentage of the estate. And if the estate developed, okay, my percentages say the same. What is included in my percentage depends on what this estate is. So Av Shalei Yishbiach Kishalem Bishalem is very beautifully saying, don't think that the percentage is defined by the money at the time of death. The Chiddush is that the percentage is defined by the time of Chalukah. Av Shalei Yishbiach Bishalem. One would have thought that maybe the percentage is defined by the time of death, because that's when there's what you call b'chayra, okay? And the Kamashman is no, the Rebbe no, Avshalei Yishbiach B'Shalem, no, his percentage the percentage stays the same. The amount of the percentage is defined by what the reality is at the time of Chalukah. This is the Chayra, the Chiddush of Rabbi. Now, the Rabban tell me Yimatzeh. What are they telling me? Your Matzi is teaching me that, no, this is not true. Now, why not? What does that mean? Your Matzi is teaching me that if you didn't have it practically, Tachas Yotcha, at that point of time, that is, you won't get it. Al Kochach is me, why won't you get it? You have to say, because your percentage is Nikvat, Fizman Amisa. So the Matzi is a Giller Milsa of when is the Chelik B'chera Nikva. If you tell me your Matzah said that you always have to have Matzah B'yodid B'shas Misa, and anything which is a Matzah B'yodid B'shas Misa is not going to get. So Al Korchu, you're going to say that the B'chor gets, the percent that he gets is defined by the reality of Shas Misa. Whatever was there B'shas Misa, that's what he gets his percent from. Anything which is not B'shas Misa, he doesn't have a Chelik, he doesn't get his percentage there. That's the development of the estate that he doesn't have a Chelik B'chor in. So Davka, according to the Girsis Kisvei Yad, we have something very beautiful, this machlokes of Rebbe Rabban. Aliba the Rebbe, it's this way, the Chiddush is that I think he said that Eino Chinami. There's a tzad to say that no, maybe it's Nikla B'shas Misa. He says no. Why would it be? Af Shalei Yishbiach Kishel B'Shalahem. There's no reason. Zogin Rabbani, you're right. In Seichel, you're right, but Pasuk is Mefurish Nishtazoi. So comes Ois Lemaisa, what's the pasuk being megal? It's not just called Roy. The pasuk is being megal al koch, the chelik b'chor is not nikva there, so your swar is wrong. The Rebbe was timing one thing. What is that? You can't call this. There's no reason you can't get it because this is the same thing. He didn't have, but this is my chelik and it developed. This is what he's saying. This was mine. And my chelik wasn't b'chora, a chelik in the estate. Whatever the tfus is, that's where I get a chelik from. That's the chayr, the pashtus. So Tiyamatzi is a gila milsa, that's our truth. That's the chayr, the beginning of trying to understand this. That's if you're holding get bishalahem. So bishalahem makes a lot of sense. Question is, what do you have in the estate? Okay, if you hold kishalahem, so you're not talking about the fact that the chelik b'chor is part of the tfusa. For all you know, when a person dies, there's two things happening. There's the overall estate and the chelik b'chor. And then, if going to that, the chiddush is going to be that what alpha BK, we have no reason to differentiate. Now, to understand all this is not just poichs forlach. You really have to learn the sugin of kuf chavav, which I asked you to learn. Just the Gemara and Rashbam. And it Taisus and Amud Beis, and I want you to know this by tomorrow, and then I will, finally close this case. See you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bracha v'atzlacha.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye.
Thank you.
So